guys, and welcome to this week's news. I'm going to start off by saying that most of these are just rumors or leaks, so go ahead and take everything you hear right now with a grain of salt. I'm just trying to get through the most interesting things of the week in the gaming world, and offering my take on them. And boy, is there a lot of stuff to go through this week. It seems like every time I started to make this video, there would be a new news story or more about a story would come out, so I would edit the video and it just kept on going from there. So let's just go ahead and get into it and let's take a look at all this news. First up, we have a leak about Lenovo working on their very own handheld console called the Legion Play. The handheld seems to be based on the Android operating system, and this was accidentally leaked through some code on the Lenovo German and Japan press release website. The code contained pictures and descriptions of what appeared to be the Lenovo handheld console. According to the files within this website and the code, it says, designed for AAA gaming, the Lenovo Legion Play. It is the first Android cloud gaming console. The console lets users play hundreds of cloud games, stream from their game library, or play mobile games as well. It features a 7-inch 16:9 FHD bezel-less display, HDR10, built-in controllers, dual speakers, dual vibration, and a 7,000 mAh battery. Our developer program is open to all game developers, coming soon in select markets. This definitely sounds interesting, and it feels like they're trying to compete with the Steam Deck. I'm not sure if it will succeed, as I'm not really all in on cloud gaming yet. It is quite good, and there are some services out there that actually do stream pretty well, but not everyone has the same type of connection. Just because it works well for me doesn't mean it's going to be the same for someone else. And I don't think all the kinks have been worked out as well. It is almost there, just not completely. From my experience, it's mostly okay, but there's always, well, not always, but there is some type of input lag sometimes. It's never been 100% for me. And also, if I am home, I'm most likely just going to play on my PS5 or Switch, to be honest. I'm also realizing I'm probably not the target audience at this point. And with their statement of having a developer program, for some reason gives me Ouya vibes. I'm not sure why. Maybe because they did also have a developer program, and that didn't really do too well. No big developers actually came for the Ouya. It was all small-time indie developers, and the device just wasn't that great. We pretty much all know how the Ouya turned out. There are some key points in what they said, and I want to pick them out. For one, they said you can stream from your cloud library. Now, I'm assuming they're talking about like xCloud for Game Pass, and I'm also assuming stuff like Stadia and the GeForce Now stuff. I'm assuming you can play pretty much on any streaming platform that you want, considering it's Android. The thing is though, I have a perfectly good tablet that does all that on a bigger screen. I can pretty much run any kind of game streaming service on there with a controller in hand and just get that full experience right there. I don't need to buy some sort of device that can do so. Which also leads me to my next point, is this thing gonna have some sort of wireless data service? Because the main point of a handheld is taking it anywhere you wanna go, but without any sort of cellular service on the device, you pretty much aren't going to be playing your stuff on the go unless you can get near a Wi-Fi connection that is stable enough to play all these games. So without a cellular connection, it's pretty much just going to be a home console, which makes no sense. It also says it features a 7-inch 16:9 FHD bezel-less display with HDR10, which is comparable to the Switch OLED screen. But the OLED still beats it out with a lot more vivid colors. The controller layout is pretty much your run-of-the-mill, familiar territory controller layout. You're not getting anything special, but if it's not broken, why fix it? It's hard to mess up a controller layout these days, so at least you're getting a decent control layout. The photos that are shown off look very similar to the Steam Deck, and that's also what Lenovo is probably hoping to compete with here. The only difference really being is that the Legion Play looks a little slimmer in size, and it will be of course running Android instead of Linux. And really what this is telling me is that the Steam Deck has done something here. The Steam Deck has gotten so much press and so many people turning heads and looking at it that it's making other companies go, you know, we should get in on this train. And they have decided they want a piece of it. So we're most likely going to see a ton of different handheld consoles that can do all sorts of similar things to the Steam Deck. It's not unheard of for some kind of new console to release, and a lot of people try to replicate it, especially the handhelds. Now, the Lenovo Legion Play looks kind of just like a generic handheld. There's nothing really special looking about it, honestly. It looks nice, but still looks run-of-the-mill. Nothing special, nothing jumps out at me. It's all very generic looking. And it probably will be overpriced. If it really wants to compete with Valve, it's going to have to meet or scoot under that Steam Valve Deck price. And that price is $400, so I'm not sure if they can do that. Not to mention, if you just want a premium handheld console experience, the Switch is what most people are going to go for because it's quite affordable at this point. A lot more than a Steam Deck or this Legion Play device. So it's going to have a really hard time gaining any sort of edge over the competition, especially considering how much of a chip shortage we have right now. Internals for devices are just really hard to get a hold of. We don't really know much about this device, but I do suspect sooner or later we're going to get some sort of official announcement and more official news about it. Next up, we have a rumor that Bluepoint is actually working on a Bloodborne remaster. Not only that, but also there could be a Bloodborne sequel in the works as well. And this has me absolutely excited because I love Bloodborne. It's one of my favorite games and also one of my favorite Soulsborne games. Easily, hands down, my favorite with the horror atmosphere and everything that Bloodborne offers. It just had, for some reason, to me personally, the best combat out of all the Souls games, and it's just something that clicked with me more than the other games. So I am excited. I really hope this news is true because I would buy Bloodborne Remastered all over again for the PS5 easily day one buy, and I don't really do that a lot anymore for games. And also a Bloodborne sequel, take my money now. I would easily pre-order that. So Colin Moriarty, I hope I'm saying that name right, tweeted out that he's hearing through the grapevine Bluepoint may be on a journey to Yharnam. If you don't know who Colin is, he leaked the Demon's Souls remake before it was announced, so the dude is credible. So when this dude says that Bloodborne Remaster is on the way, he's got my attention for sure. Also on Discord, Colin went more into detail saying that not only was Bluepoint working on a remaster, but they are also working on a Bloodborne sequel. And you have to remember, this source is pretty legit. So excuse me for getting a little bit excited here. And this isn't even the first time that a rumor has popped up about there being a remaster for this game. It has been rumored the last few months that a Bloodborne remaster was indeed coming to PC and PS5, so this isn't really surprising. What the surprising part is for me is that there is a sequel in the works. Perhaps we'll get an official announcement or more news about it during the Video Game Awards. I'm really hoping because I just want to see this shown off so bad. Next up, this one started out as a rumor, but it quickly became more than that. Randy Pitchford stepping down from Gearbox, and instead replacing him will be the former chief of technology, Steve Jones. He will, however, remain with the company as CEO of the Gearbox Entertainment Company. So he is still going to be there, he just isn't going to be the software president. Now, I don't really like this dude at all. He has a really colorful past. This dude just doesn't seem like a very good guy at all, and I just don't like him. I just don't. He is one of the problems with the game industry, how it is right now. A lot of toxic guys in these gaming companies, and it's just not good. It's not a good look for the company itself, and the dude is just shady all around. If you don't believe me, go look him up on Google. There's so much wrong with the guy. He's had lawsuits against him, and some of the things that people claim against him are absolutely ridiculously absurd. So I'm glad to see he isn't fully in charge anymore. I just wish that he would cut all ties with the company. I just don't think it's a good look. I really don't. When I first heard about this rumor, before it was official, I thought, God, good riddance, because Gearbox doesn't need ya. Gearbox needs to do more than just the Borderlands games. It seems like they are the Borderlands company at this point. I would love to see them do something new, you know? They have so much more potential. Next up, we have a rumor that at this point isn't even a rumor anymore with all the evidence people have found. And it's also a news story that I did touch on last week, but there's a lot more stuff going on now with it. The Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Remastered Collection. And it's supposedly coming to consoles and the PC, and that also includes the Nintendo Switch, and it's even coming supposedly to mobile. Pretty much this week, people have went into the code of the new update on the Rockstar game launcher, and they found a surprisingly amount of details, everything from the remastered icons to information on it coming to iOS and Android in the first half of 2022, and of course that it's coming to all the new consoles as well as the Nintendo Switch. And even though the company hasn't really said anything, all the code is right there in their launcher. So at this point, we can no longer ignore that this thing does exist and it probably will be coming out soon. And I am a little excited for it. I don't know what it looks like, but it still has me a little excited to come back and explore these worlds once again. It's probably going to be graphically in between the old games and souped up to current gen consoles. Something in between. Don't expect like a full reworking of the whole game. I'm not expecting that. It's going to be more not a remake, but what it says, a remastered. It's going to have shinier graphics and probably going to be on the same level as the older games, just more shiny, which is fine with me. Hopefully we will learn more about it soon. I expect, since it looks like it's going to be released soon, that we'll probably have more information during the Game Awards in December. There's just so much information out there now that I believe this is a real thing. It's only a matter of time before it's officially announced. Next up, we have another news story that I'm really excited about. And it's also from another reliable insider, Nick Baker. He has a high track record for some accurate leaks and news about video games, so he is very trustworthy here. And he's claiming that we're getting a new Sly Cooper. We haven't seen Sly Cooper for a very long time, since around the PlayStation 3 days when he got a Sly Cooper 4. And with the original developers, Sucker Punch, currently working on Ghost of Tsushima and its inevitable sequel, I'm not really sure who's going to be developing the game. Perhaps it's being passed off to another studio, which would make a little more sense. Maybe it's also on Bluepoint's plate as well. It does seem like they have a pretty big plate these days. I'm really surprised that the game has dropped off at a certain point and that there hasn't really been more in line, especially on the PS4, and it's always been a series of games that are on the same level as, like, say, a Ratchet & Clank to me, but they never really came to a popular fruition, I believe. They just kind of died off. I'm not even sure how many other people enjoyed the Sly Cooper games. But with this news, it looks like they may be making a comeback. I've also heard that it's very possible a remastered collection could be in the works as well. I've heard that just about as much as I've heard there's going to be a new game coming out, so I'm not sure if it's both or one or the other. It just seems like there is some kind of Sly Cooper something in the works, which I'm all for. Not really much more on developments in this. I'm just glad to see that there is some sort of news coming down the line of a new game, because I did enjoy the old games. I'm not sure if anybody else did. I'm kind of wondering why they did die off so quickly and never came back. Maybe Sucker Punch just really got a lot more busy. So who knows, maybe soon we will actually see another Sly Cooper game. Alright, next we have some really interesting news. For some reason, the Xbox Kinect is getting a revival. I don't know why. So it seems something called Sky is looking to revive the Microsoft Kinect accessory next year. Apparently Sky is a British satellite broadcaster. and apparently it now announced its line of Sky Glass TVs. And the company has built a separate 4K camera that includes motion controls and gesture support. Sounds familiar, right? It even works with games and has a social TV sharing feature built into its partnership with Microsoft. So it kind of sounds like the Kinect as we know it isn't really being revived. It kind of sounds like this Kinect is being rebuilt for a different kind of thing. I mean, originally the Xbox One was launched with the Kinect, and it also had an HDMI input so you could access your TV satellite provider as well, which is what Sky is, a TV satellite provider. And it seemed like Microsoft had some big plans with using this HDMI in and having the Xbox kind of be your cable box as well. But that never really came to fruition at all, and their dreams with Kinect died, and their dreams of having all sorts of TV plans died along with it. But now it looks like the Kinect is going to be brought back and somehow being revived with this TV partnership. It may mean that Microsoft's original plans for their TV line sort of thing may actually become a real thing now. Will it succeed? I don't know, honestly. I highly doubt it. No one wants to use their cable in their Xbox. I don't know anybody who ever used that feature, and I did try it and I just didn't see a point in it. It didn't seem necessary then, and it still doesn't really seem necessary. Maybe it will work, but I don't have high hopes for it. It seems like Sky is also investing heavily in their voice controls with their TVs. So what it sounds like to me is that it kind of sounds like these TVs are going to kind of have a Kinect within them or something like that, but it seems like these Sky TVs will, or their Sky box or something, is going to connect to the Xbox console, and they're gonna kind of talk to each other, I guess? I don't really know. It's not really clear on exactly what it's going to do, but I think Sky's taking the Kinect hardware and are going to do something with it, and it's going to kind of work with the Xbox. That's what it seems like to me. I don't understand why they did this or what they see in the Kinect. It was a failed thing, and I don't understand why they're bringing it back, but maybe that's just me. So yeah, Kinect is a thing again somehow. Let's go ahead and take a second and let's talk about this new Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City trailer. I thought it looked absolutely horrible. Can anyone explain to me why all the zombies kind of look more alien-like than actual zombies? The acting just looks absolutely horrible as well. I mean, the actors didn't really have any sort of reaction. I mean, it just looked bad. Maybe that's what they were going for, because the earlier games had also horrible acting within them, but it just didn't look good at all. I mean, it did have all the beats of a Resident Evil game, and it did feel reminiscent of the first Resident Evil, so there is that. There were zombie dogs, exploding helicopters, mad scientists, and a police station. So it had all those same beats within it. It just felt so B-movie, similar to the first game. So I guess I was expecting something more on the production value of the franchise that was before it. All those Resident Evil movies, I thought they were awesome. I thought they were full of action. And yeah, some of them didn't do that well and weren't that great, but this just looks like a whole different train wreck. Some people may like it, but I don't know. I really don't know. It seems like this movie is going to combine the events and locations from the first two games, because we do see that mansion, and we also do get a pretty good look at the police station as well, so it does kind of look like it's going to be both games in one. I did like a little bit of the creepiness that was there, but I think it's going to be really overshadowed by just how fake everything looks in the trailer. The CGI was really bad for the most part. The last little scene of the liquor looked okay, but everything before that just looked like really bad CGI. And I know they probably weren't going for like a serious cinematic experience experience. They were probably trying to stay true to those first 2 games. They are probably looking for more of a fun B-movie experience sort of thing than an actual creepy, horror-filled, scary movie sort of thing. So maybe it will be a fun ride to actually see, but we'll see. It did have some pretty interesting actors in it, so I will give it that much. It seems to only be coming to theaters November 24th. If any movie was going to be a direct-to-stream sort of movie, I would expect this one to be one, but apparently that's not the case. I will wait definitely to see this when it comes out on a streaming service. Not really one I'm gonna go see in the movie theater, to be honest. Here's a very small but very interesting rumor that I heard, and this was just one I found on Reddit. It has absolutely no credible source, so take it as you will. But apparently, from this not so reliable source, there will be an Apple Arcade exclusive Metal Gear Solid 2 port. So yes, it will be a mobile port from Studio DICE, supposedly. There will be no new content, and it's based on the Shield TV port. It's gonna be 30 FPS, and there will be some music changes and cut to content. There will be some new features, including a photo mode and a new multiplayer minigame, and apparently in-game collectible cards that can be used in the minigames. There isn't really much else about this. I would absolutely love a Metal Gear Solid 2 port to my phone, but I use Android. I stayed away from Apple as much as I possibly can. I don't know if I believe the source because, like I said, it's just really some dude on Reddit. Not really all that credible, but it's not really unbelievable with the information they provided. I could see it being a thing, but it being an Apple exclusive kinda sucks. And also it being 30 FPS, also kinda sucks. I'd much rather have a remastered Metal Gear Solid 2 on my PS5. Hell, I would like the whole collection to be on my PS5 remastered. That would be awesome. Also, it's worth noting the same guy actually had even more Metal Gear news. The same guy on Reddit, whose name is PS2_clearcase_guy, also stated that Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is getting a remastered for the PS4 and the PS5, which I would be all over. I loved Revengeance and I still play it from time to time. The project is supposedly being spearheaded by Virtuos, and the remastered is going to be similar to the Mafia 2 remastered. No major changes, just a few touch-ups here and there, and it's gonna be ported to the PC as well. The only major update the person said the game is going to be getting is DualSense haptics, and all the DLC will be included. But the bad thing here is that the price seems to be $60, which I will probably pay that price for Metal Gear Rising Remastered, but I would think it would be more suitable for around 30 bucks. The person also said that the project is in the middle of development, and the estimated time frame is Q2 of 2022. The guy also says he cannot say who he is, and he can't give any more information without identifying who he is. Maybe he's working close with these games, I don't know. I want to really believe him, but time will tell. Like I said, I would love a Revengeance Remastered. The game was absolutely sick, and I would love to be able to play it again in a much higher fidelity and quality. Next up, we have a rumor that more Xbox backwards compatible games could be coming next month, which I'm very excited for. I know most people have probably moved on to the new generation and are still playing Xbox One titles, but I still love me some Xbox 360 for sure, and even some Xbox originals. The source of the leak is Xbox era co-host and leaker Nick Special, who claimed on Twitter that more backwards compatible games are indeed coming next month. Special also quoted tweets from his post originally last January where he stated that a new batch of original Xbox and Xbox 360 compatible titles were coming some point this year. Now in October, Special provides an update claiming it seems some games may have been data mined, but sometimes OG and 360 games are tested for backwards compatibility, but then they just don't make the cut. So they aren't going to list any games because they do not want to set up those expectations and then you not actually get one of the games you want to get. So there isn't a list out there, but this is particularly some big news. I'm trying to think of the games that I would love to be compatible that aren't. One game that comes to mind is Lollipop Chainsaw. I would love that game to be backwards compatible, especially since Shadows of the Damned is compatible. And Lollipop Chainsaw is just one of those really batshit crazy games that is awesome and fun to play from beginning to end. I'm trying to think of any more games that aren't backwards compatible that I would love to see. Give me 1 second and let me look here. It looks like the Army of Two games aren't backwards compatible. I would love to see those. There actually seems to be a ton of games that aren't compatible here, and I mean there's like 17 pages that I see. Beautiful Katamari, I would love to see that being backwards compatible. Ooh, Binary Domain, I loved that game. I would love to see that one come. There's just so much potential from the old libraries still that I would love to see come to fruition on Xbox One and Xbox Series X. So many games that are just lost to time, that are hard to play unless you have a 360 or an original Xbox. So when and if there are more titles that are going to drop for Xbox compatibility, I hope they include some good ones. Next up, we have a rumor that Hellblade 2 could indeed show up at the Video Game Awards. And it really has been one of the most anticipated Xbox exclusives, but there hasn't really been much in terms of information and things we have seen so far about the game. I know the team has been working really hard on the game, and I think they've been actually at it for a couple years now, but we haven't really gotten anything more than some in-engine trailers. So I would really like to see an update along the way of what's going on with the game. And even though there has been no official confirmation on when we will actually get to see the game, according to the trusted source Jeff Grubb, the wait shouldn't be too long since the plan is to showcase Hellblade 2 at the upcoming Game Awards, which has been confirmed for December 9th, 2021. So it looks like there are plans to indeed show this game off, and I can't wait to actually see some more footage of this game. It was really one of my favorite games of last generation, and it might make me get an Xbox Series X in the future. Right now, I only have the PS5, and it kind of sucks it's not coming to PS5, but I understand exclusives and why they are there. So who knows, maybe I will have an Xbox Series X in the future, just to play this game, because if it's anything like the first game, it's going to be awesome. Next up, Valve is actually reportedly working on their own VR headset that will be standalone, so it will compete with the Oculus Quest. The codename for the headset is Deckard, and it has been cross-referenced against the company's recent patent applications. Ars Technica subsequently confirmed that its own source, the findings are actually accurate, and that Valve does have a second headset prototype in development. They do have the Valve Index, but you did have to have it tethered to the PC in order to play the games. It was not a full standalone experience, such as how the Quest is. And the Valve Index was incredibly high priced. Ars also claims that there is apparently a code string, and there is a lot suggesting that it is indeed a standalone device, and that it could have its own internal processing power, which would allow it to function independently without an external PC. There's also references suggesting the new headset might have some measure of wireless connectivity, potentially Wi-Fi, because why would the device at this point not have Wi-Fi built into it? It just makes sense that it would. There's also reports and details about there being updated optics for the device, which could allow users' headset lenses being positioned closer to the eye so that there's a better comfort and performance. So this is very interesting, and I think a lot more companies are going to start trying to bring out their own standalone VR devices because the Quest is one of the best and it's not even that expensive. I'm wondering how much this new Valve headset is going to cost. If it's anything like the Index, it's just going to be too high in price for most people. The only people that have a Valve Index are, in fact, the ones that can afford to drop that kind of money on something like that. It's outrageously priced, and I'm really hoping that this new one won't be. I'm personally perfectly fine with my Quest 2. It does everything I need it to do just fine, and I am absolutely happy with it. Next up, this one isn't a rumor, it actually has been confirmed that Yakuza creator Toshihiro Nagashi will be leaving Sega. A report from Bloomberg in August actually said that Nagashi will be leaving to join Chinese company NetEase. And in a farewell post, he actually thanked fans for the support over the years. He said, as of today, Ryuga Gotoku, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, I am really sorry if I'm butchering that, studio is born where the series will live on. And he also went on to say that, I don't know for sure what they will create, I believe the new generation will farther enhance the foundation we built over the years and deliver great games to the world. To achieve that, they need to continue to learn, challenge themselves, and grow. And I ask that you continue to support the studio's endeavors. Once again, I would like to express my deepest appreciation to all of you. Thank you so much for the support. Stay tuned for the many new beginnings. So it's really sad to see him leave, but it seems like he's going on to what he wants to go on to. I mean, the dude has pretty much done everything he wanted to do with Sega. He was a veteran, he worked at Sega for 30 years. And he's worked pretty much on everything he wanted to, like Daytona and Virtua Fighter, but it was the Yakuza series that actually really gave him the status he has today among his fans. All the Yakuza games are absolutely regarded as masterpieces. I haven't played them. I have every single game in the collection up to the new one, Year of the Dragon. I just haven't really played any of them. I'm hoping to change that soon though. It seems that the director and producer as well, Daisuke Sato, is also leaving the Sega company and probably presumably following Nagashi to NetEase. And again, I'm sorry if I'm saying these names wrong. I really am not versed in Japanese names and I am probably butchering the hell out of them. I don't mean to, I just am not familiar with pronouncing those names. So I apologize. Sega also seemed to confirm the pair's departure, while also announcing a reorganization in leadership. The studio director and executive producer Masayoshi Yokoyama said that their predecessors passed on their beliefs and their know-how to each and every staff member, and you can witness it in the recently released Lost Judgment, and we'll also see it in the upcoming sequel to Yakuza, Like a Dragon. So it seems like the staff and Sega as a whole will be okay with them leaving. It seems like they did pass on a ton of what they know how to do and what they honed in on to their staff. It is sad to see them go, but at the same time, they are pursuing what they want to pursue. And as a fan, you can't really ask for more than that. Next up, we have some rumors of another Bioshock Remastered collection coming out, and you really do want to take this one with a grain of salt because the work could really be anything, honestly. But it was found from a recent leak from Nvidia that all three games were being tested internally by 2K. So people are wondering why they are actually testing these. A lot of people believe that it could be some sort of update that is going to be coming, but because of also the Nvidia leak that did happen, people are thinking it's going to be a remaster. Now, I don't know whether I believe this or not because we already do have a remastered collection that actually isn't all that old to begin with. I still think the collection we have looks great. Could it be updated for the current gen hardware and PC? Sure. Is it going to be? Maybe? We don't really know for sure. This is just a small leak that I found on Reddit and we don't know for sure. It is worth noting that the Reddit name CloudSheep0 is the one reporting this, or at least showing the rumor. So again, a rumor on Reddit, take it with a grain of salt. The next little bit of news is, it is being rumored that the Friday the 13th developer IllFonic is working on a Ghostbusters game, maybe for the upcoming movie. There was an interview with a singer and songwriter named Raphael Sadiq, and in the most recent episode of Questlove Supreme podcast, he seems to be the source of the leak about an upcoming Ghostbusters video game. Sadiq, in addition to his solo career, being a member of the Tony and producing a wide array of songs, everyone from Snoop Dogg to Bee Gees, he also co-founded the video game studio IllFonic with engineer Charles Brungart. And even though the podcast does actually focus more on his music career, about an hour into it, he responds to a question about his games, and that's when he mentioned his studio is working on a new Ghostbusters game. And since there is a new Ghostbusters movie, the Afterlife movie, coming out November 19th, it probably makes sense that they are developing a game based on that. Has there been any official announcement? No, not really, but I mean, he did co-found the video game studio and he kinda did say it, so is this kind of officially non-officially announced? Yeah, kinda. Now, if it's anything to go by the Friday the 13th game and also their Predator Hunting Grounds game, maybe it's gonna be a multiplayer game. That's kinda what it feels like it could possibly be. Or maybe they're gonna go for something different this time and go for a single player experience. But I'm leaning more towards some kind of multiplayer game. But only time will tell. Right now, we really don't know anything. If it is going to be based on the movie in some kind of way, it's probably going to come out along the same lines as when the movie comes out, which is November. If it is going to come out soon, we'll see sooner than later. Next up, we have a bit of news about Agent from Rockstar. The game has officially been laid to rest and removed from the Rockstar Games website. It's finally starting to distance itself from the publisher, and it's hard to believe this game was announced back on the PS3 exclusively in 2009, but it was just never released. They held on to the name for a very long time, but now it just looks like they want to shove it under the rug and forget about it. It was probably in development hell for a very long time, and maybe they were just never happy enough to release it. The company has pretty much been working on bigger and better things, and they just kind of forgot about Agent. They were probably hoping to bring it in at some point, it just never happened. With that being said though, Rockstar hasn't still officially announced it's cancelled, but we might as well just say at this point that it is. They seem to be more focused on Grand Theft Auto and seemingly re-releasing that for the current gen, and I'm sure they're working on a lot of other things as well, so I don't know if we're missing much. At this point, Agent is a distant memory for a lot of people. Like I said, it was announced so long ago. It's just time to let it rest. The last little bit of news we have this week is the Nintendo Switch OLED actually supports 4K in a way. The console doesn't support it for some reason, but the dock does. There was a recent video that broke down and reveals that the OLED won't support 4K, but the HDMI cable it ships with indeed does. So that's a little odd. Players have been hoping for a long time now to be able to play their Switch in 4K on the big screen, and there are still lots of rumors for a Switch Pro, but it's still very weird that they shipped the OLED model with an HDMI cord that supports it. I still believe that the OLED is just a momentary thing before the Pro comes out. Of course, the company's gonna deny it because they want to sell their OLED model. If they announced a Pro, everyone would just wait for that. They're gonna wait till everybody buys up the OLED and then they will officially announce it. I still very much believe that it is a thing that's coming on down the line. I of course still find it a little bit weird that the OLED dock is capable, but the Switch isn't. When someone took apart the OLED Switch to look under the hood and figure out exactly what makes the console tick, found that the console actually ships with an HDMI 2.0 port that is ready for 4K output. However, the Switch's OLED dock's ARM-based motherboard chip doesn't come with this capability, and it would require a more powerful console in order to render the 4K graphics. So maybe they originally had the intention to offer 4K and they put this within the dock, but then they decided to not do it. So even though the dock can do 4K, the Switch OLED's motherboard cannot do it. It's just not capable of processing 4K graphics. It could possibly mean in the future that they will offer 4K support. In the meantime though, the OLED is not going to have that. I just find this really interesting. I'm wondering why they included it unless they are going to offer it in the future. Maybe it's for future proofing. I don't know. It's weird. But that was just some information I wanted to share. And that's really all the news I have for this week. There are some games that are coming out soon I want to go ahead and just quickly touch on. There isn't really much to touch on this week in terms of releases. There is Back 4 Blood, which comes out for PS4 and PS5, and it's kind of the spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead series. There's lots of nods to it, and the mechanics and design works pretty much the same as Left 4 Dead. That comes out October 12th. And then we also have the Crysis Remastered Trilogy that comes out on October 15th. And that's really it. There isn't really much else this week. It's kind of a slow week for video games. There is more coming later this month that I'll talk about soon. But that's really gonna be it. I know this is a super long news video, but there was so many news stories that I just wanted to touch on this week. I try to include a lot and I try to pack in a lot here, and I hope it's interesting enough for someone to want to listen and watch. I really do pour a lot of time and effort into these videos, so if you do like these videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna be trying to put out a lot more content soon, and go ahead and drop a like and share this video if you want to share it with your video game friends. So that's gonna be it, guys. Thanks for watching.